and welcome to another episode. So this time I'm going to be taking a look at the Super Nintendo and what would be some great games to get if you were starting a collection or you just don't have them just yet. I've chosen 5 games to look at. This doesn't mean that they're the best, but they are good games to have in your library and still very cheap. So let's have a look at 5 Super Nintendo games to start off your collection. So first up, I've chosen FZero. Now this one was first released for the Super Nintendo and still holds up today as a great racing game. The tracks are all done in Mode 7 and has scaling to give you some high-speed racing effects and makes it very effective to play. There are 4 cars to choose from and each have a handicap. There is Blue Falcon, who is piloted by Captain Falcon, who has fast acceleration but has the second lowest maximum speed. Then Golden Fox, who is piloted by Dr. Stewart, who's also got fast acceleration, slowest maximum speed but is still very light and good for cornering. Then there's Wild Goose, who is piloted by Pico, who has slow acceleration. He's very heavy but has the second highest maximum speed. And then there's Fire Stingray, who is piloted by Samurai Goro, who has the slowest acceleration and is the heaviest but has the fastest maximum speed. Now, I recommend choosing your vehicle wisely, as each one would handle differently, so try them all out to find out which one matches your driving abilities. When you start, you are given a choice as to which circuit you would like to race. There's the Knight League, the Queen League, and the King League. The Knight League is the easiest one to start off with, so probably go with that one if you're just testing the cars out. The Queen League is the medium levels, and the King League tracks are the hardest levels. After you've decided on which car to choose and what league to race in, it then starts the race. There are 4 main cars to race against and extra cars as you race around the track. If you time your start correctly, you can get an extra boost to help you get in front and give you an advantage over the cars. You have an energy bar, and as you're racing around you will bump into other cars and the walls a lot. And again. And again. This will take damage off you, and if it hits 0, your car will explode. So the idea is to get in front as quick as possible, avoid hitting the walls and other cars as you race around the track. The good news is there are several things to help you take advantage of the other vehicles. You have a speed booster arrows in the middle of the track, and when you fly over these, they boost your speed. There is also jump pads, and when you move over these they give you a little boost in the air, usually to help you over an obstacle or a shortcut in the track. There are also energy boosters at the beginning of the laps, and when you move over them they will give you some of your energy back depending on how long you stay on them for. Just one last thing I have to mention is when racing and bumping into cars and walls like a ball in a pinball machine, you will lose control and your energy will deplete and you will die. A lot. And again. And again. And again. So overall, F-Zero is a fantastic game, easy to get into and one that should be in your collection. It's a fast-paced racing game that gives you lots of challenges and there's several tracks to choose from. It's still very cheap and easy to get hold of. I do recommend getting this if you haven't already. So next up we've got Super RType. This is an arcade conversion and is also known as RType 2. They did an excellent port converting it to the Super Nintendo, even though it had a bit of slowdown every now and then. They even added an extra level at the beginning of the stage. You are called upon once again to defeat the Bido Empire in your little R9 ship. Now even stronger than ever, you must face these diabolical aliens who are poised to attack. You're armed with even more advanced technology to defeat the mutant scum and even face more bosses twice as bad as before. You're given a standard shot
and if you keep holding the fire button down you release a more powerful beam, but this time you can charge it twice as much, and if you hold it down for even longer you get a spread beam that wipes out everything in its path. You're even given a helping hand once again from your force pod. This is a drone that gives you an extra shot. You can attach him to the front of the ship or the back and detach it any time. This also helps repelling the bullets coming from you from the front or back. Now there are 5 types of lasers to collect. Now there's the blue power up. This is the reflective laser shooting in 3 different directions and bounces off walls. There's the red power laser. This is the anti-air laser that spirals a blue and pink shot at your enemies in front of you. The green power up is a split laser that shoots orange balls out in front of you from 8 different directions. The yellow power up is an air and ground shot that shoots flames above and below, destroying anything on the ceiling and the floor. And the grey power up that's shooting a gun laser that shoots out a grenade rocket in front of you and destroying anything in its path. There are 2 types of missiles to collect. There's the red M icon. This is a homing missile that follows the enemy around the screen, and the blue M icon. This is the anti-ground missile that shoots out diagonally in front of you onto the ground. There are also speed icons to collect, helping you dodge enemies and bullets flying towards you. And there are little pods that you can pick up that give you extra shots. These will stay with you until you die. Now with all these power-ups, you're really going to need them as the bosses are even bigger and better than before. The graphics have improved compared to the first game, and the music still has that RType charm, giving you that feeling of wanting to get on blasting some alien scum. So RType still is a great game, and I find myself coming back for this one for a quick blast and a shoot 'em up fix. This still is very easy to get hold of and is fairly cheap. Get this one for your collection if you haven't already. So next up we have Starfox, also known as Starwing in the UK. I think Starfox is a way better name for it suits it well. Now, you're Fox McCloud in the Andromeda system, and it's under attack from the evil Andros, who is hiding on the planet Venom. You're given a mission to take him down no matter what the cost. Luckily, you and 3 other teammates are there to help and fly by your side in your R-Wings. Starfox was one of the first Super Nintendo games to use the FX chip, creating some amazing polygonal graphics. It's a rail shooter that's in first person and sometimes third person on certain levels. You have 3 difficulty levels to choose from: easy, medium and hard, and each one has different paths to choose. You set out in your R-Wing, starting at the Corneria land base, and navigate through several environments, destroying big spaceships, giant robots and space fighters who will attack from all direction. You're given a standard laser weapon to start with, and this can be powered up 2 times. After the first power up you get twin blasters, which really does help defeating the enemies. Then the next power up is another twin blaster, but with stronger firepower, resulting in killing the enemies even quicker. You can speed up your ships or slow it down briefly, and this will help navigate through certain closing doors or even flying debris. You have 3 super bombs that will take a huge amount of damage off anything that is on the screen at the time, and you can collect more throughout the levels, as this will help you progress further in the game, getting you out of sticky situations or even taking the end level boss down a lot quicker. You can incur damage to your ship while flying through the environments, resulting in losing a wing or 2, or even if you completely lose your shields, then your ship will take a dive and explode. Each of your teammates, Peppy, Toad and Falco, accompany you while flying through the levels. At certain points they will fly past and ask you for your help to take down the enemy that is tailing them. They all have health bars, and the enemy attacking them needs to be disposed of quickly, as if they get hit and their health depletes, you will lose them and they will not return for the rest of the game. It's also important to help them, as at the end of the level you are graded on how much health you and your teammates have, so the more times you rescue them, the better score you will have. Now, Starfox was one of those games that when I first saw it on the Super Nintendo, my jaw dropped. I couldn't believe that the quality of graphics and gameplay was on this console. It was a huge leap forward for games, and I was stunned to see a video game of such caliber on the Super Nintendo. Now, Starfox is a fantastic game and still is to this day. If you've not played it, which I think most people have, I highly recommend getting it or at least giving it a playthrough, as you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's still very cheap and easy to get hold of.
Wing damage.
So the next game that I'm putting on the list needs no introduction. If you haven't played or heard of this game, I would think you've been on Mars in a cave with your fingers in your ears for the last 3 decades. Yes, that's right, it's Street Fighter 2. Everybody has played this game. But just in case, or you're thinking of buying it, I'm still going to recommend it as it's an amazing top fighter and still holds up very well today. So, 8 characters from 4 corners of the globe come together, each with a hidden backstory as to why they're on their journey to take down the head of the criminal organisation Shadow Lu and Bison. Each character has a series of punch and kicks and also equipped with special moves. First off, we have Ryu, who's from Japan and practices martial arts. He beat Sagat in the original Street Fighter, taking him down with his Dragon Punch, creating the scar on Sagat's chest, and feels that he is still not the greatest fighter, so he is competing to challenge himself and test his fighting skills once again. Next we have Ken from the USA, who fought and trained side by side Ryu. Ken feels he's become complacent in fighting and has challenged Ryu to see who is really the greatest fighter out of the two of them. Next we've got E Honda, who is a sumo wrestler from Japan and believes that sumo wrestling is the best fighting ability to have and is out to prove that they are the greatest athletes. Then we have Guile from USA, a former Air Force soldier who is hell-bent on tracking Bison down and destroying him as he killed his best friend Charlie, who happens to be one of my favourite characters in the Alpha series, and we know that Charlie survives if you've ever played Street Fighter V. Then we have Chun-Li, who's from China and works as an Interpol officer. Chun-Li is also out for revenge on Bison as he killed her father and will not rest until she has justice. Next we have Blanca, who's a mutant beast from Brazil, who enters the tournament to find out if he can discover anything about his past. So we've got Zangief from Russia, who's a professional wrestler who wrestles bears in his spare time and has entered the tournament to prove that he is the strongest of them all. And finally we've got Dalsim, who is from India and specialises in yoga. He believes that spiritualism is the best method and mind, body and soul are far more powerful than strength. You can select any of these 8 characters from the start and you will have to fight the other 7 fighters to progress to the bosses. Then there are 3 champions or M Bisons and minions to be defeated before you can reach the big chief. The first one is Balrog, who's a boxer from the USA and is kind of like a bouncer for M Bison, so you must defeat him before even getting close to the boss. But be careful as Balrog has a strong attack and can release a flurry of punches that they're very hard to dodge. You must take him down quick before he can retaliate. Next up is Vega, who's from Spain and fights with a unique style of ninjutsu. He also wields a claw, giving him a very long reach and is also very fast. Be sure to time your attacks well with him as he will be all over the stage and can swoop in with a few attacks and back out again in an instant. Every now and then he will jump onto the cage walls at the back of the stage and do a high dive. Be sure to move out of the way from this as it can leave you very dizzy sometimes. Next up we've got Sagat from Thailand. Now Sagat is the main boss from the original Street Fighter who was defeated by Ryu in the final showdown. He's a very strong Muay Thai fighter and is hell-bent on getting revenge on Ryu and will stop at nothing to take him down. He's perfected his special moves such as the upper and lower tiger fireballs and even his tiger uppercut to match Ryu's Dragon Punch and hopefully defeating him and gaining the title of the True Warrior. After you've defeated all of the other fighters, you then get a chance to come face to face with Bison himself. He's from Thailand and is the big chief of the Shadow Lu organisation. But be careful as he will not get down easily with his fast moves, several combinations of attacks and his psycho powers. Bison has a habit of hitting you with multiple attacks, like the scissor kick from the front or even the head stomp from above. If you manage to defend any of these attacks, then he'll release the Psycho Crusher on you, where he will cover himself in blue flames and torpedo towards you. It can be hard to dodge, so I recommend jumping out of the way or doing a fireball at him, depending on which character you play. Once you've defeated M. Bison, it will show you the ending to which fighter that you played. There is a different ending for each character, but this must be done on a harder setting, as easier levels you won't get the full ending. Now, Street Fighter was one of my all-time favourite games, and I've always come back for a quick blast and to see how far I can get on one credit. It's an awesome game with great graphics and sound, and very close to the original. If you do not have this for your collection, I think you should go out and buy it now, because it's still cheap and very easy to get a hold of.
Round 1, fight! Load up blade!
Finally, we have Super Mario World. I think everyone has played this, as it was bundled with the Super Nintendo, and it was also a launch title for the console. Now, Mario is out on a quest again to save Princess Peach and Dinosaur Land from the evil clutches of Bowser and his minions. It's the typical side-scrolling platform game where you get to control Mario or Luigi if you play in the second player. It's part of the Super Mario series and has similar gameplay to Super Mario Bros. 3. You start on a huge map and have to select which level that you would like to begin. At the beginning, you start on a little island called Yoshi's Island. I wonder where I've heard that before. It's a pretty linear path you have to take, but there are some forks in the road where you can find shortcuts to discover, making it quicker to get to Bowser. There are different sections to the map, such as Yoshi's Island that I mentioned before, Vanilla Dome, which is set in a cave, Forest of Illusion, and finally Valley of Bowser. Each section has yellow or red markers on them, and the yellow ones mean there is only one exit, and the red ones mean there are several exits to discover that could lead on to shortcuts through the island. You are given several power-ups to help you on the way, and these can be very handy for getting to the end of the level quicker. If you have the infamous mushroom that helps Mario grow bigger and helps him break certain blocks too. Then there is a fire flower that will turn Mario white and give him a fireball to shoot at the enemies. Then there is a feather that gives Mario a cape and will give him flying abilities to get over certain obstacles. All of these come in very handy and will help you defeat the foes throughout Dinosaur Land. You will also have the aid of a very good friend, a little green dinosaur called Yoshi. You will hit certain blocks and sometimes a green and white egg will pop out. It will then crack open and Yoshi will appear. You can then jump on his back and he will get you through the level a lot easier. While on Yoshi, the music will have an added drum beat to it, giving you a little bit of island rhythm. If you hit the fire button while on Yoshi's back, he will stick out his tongue and swallow most of the enemies. If you swallow certain Koopas, that will give Yoshi some enhanced powers for a small period of time. Now, the red Koopas, when swallowed, when you spit them back out again, you'll breathe a fireball. The yellow Koopas, when swallowed, will give you a quake landing, so land near any of the enemies, and this will knock them off their feet. The blue Koopas, when swallowed, will give Yoshi little wings and give him the little ability to fly for a small period of time. This can also be very handy for getting to hard to reach areas to get to the hidden exit. Scattered through the map you will find little ghost houses. They are kind of like a halfway point, as when you've completed them they will give you the option to save your progress. You will walk up to the ghost house, and if you're on Yoshi he will stay behind, as I think is a little scared of ghosts. As you enter the ghost house, it is full of several little ghosts that appear and disappear all the time, but be careful as some can appear out of nowhere and take energy off you. There is also the Big Boo. They look quite large compared to the little ghosts, but don't worry, they will not move towards you if you are looking at them. But if you turn your back on them, they will advance towards you, so turn around and look at them quick so they don't get any closer. At the end of each stage is a giant gate and a bar moving up and down. The higher you cross the bar, and the more stars you are rewarded with. You can get a maximum of 50 stars for each bar you cross at the end of each level. After you've collected 100 stars, you'll be given a bonus stage, where you have to line up 9 blocks to get 3 of a kind. The more 3 in a row you get, the more extra lives you're rewarded. In every area is a main castle you must defeat to progress to the next section. These are all Bowser's minions and are waiting for you to try and stop you getting closer to Bowser. Each minion is hiding at the end of each castle, where you have to get through a series of traps and puzzles to get you out to the end. Bowser has just sent out 7 of his minions to stop you, and each one has a different fighting style. Such as Iggy Koopa, who is on a seesaw platform with lava surrounding it, and either you will knock him off or he will knock you off if you don't kill him in time. Then there's even Morton Koopa, and when coming face to face with this minion, he will climb up the wall around you and crawl onto the ceiling. Once he's on top, he will then jump down and try and land on you. Luckily, you only need to land on his head 3 times to dispose of him. Now, there is so much more to Super Mario World, with loads of enemies to demolish and 96 levels to discover. I could go on for hours telling you the ins and outs of this game, but personally I think this game alone would take up a whole episode to go over, as there is lots more to discover. Overall, I think that is still a great game, and definitely one you should have in your collection to start off. It's still easy to get hold of, and a reasonable price to say what kind of game you are getting. Super Mario World has even been classed as one of the greatest games of all time. If you've not played this one yet, then I do recommend getting it. Give it a try, as it's worth every penny you spend on it. Okay, so that's just 5 games I would recommend starting your collection for the Super Nintendo. There are many others to choose from, and I'm sure there could be other episodes where I can go over more games for a starter pack for your SNES. Let me know your thoughts on what you think would be great games for starting off a collection in the comments below. And on that note, I have to say, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.